Reprint season is upon us, and we're having many of the heavy hitter sets having reprints, such as 151, and now Paldea Evolved also joins the group. So what does that mean for the sealed products such as the booster box, as well as the chase cards from this set? Well, today we're going to find out what's going on with those. So we're going to start off by looking at the Paldea Evolved booster box, which tends to be your go-to for sealed products when it comes to main sets. This one is still up 9.49% for the year, and it's at $142.16. So just in the last 3 months here, and around the tail end of September, if you want to call it, we noted a bit of a decline here, going down to $133. So this is where we had that little blip here near the tail end of September, as I mentioned. That only lasted a few days, and we were back up to that $140-ish mark. So really, did the reprint have any effect at all on the booster box? That's my question here, and it doesn't seem like it really did. So really, I think the thing I'm trying to say here is that I don't think we should be worried about the reprint itself. I think you should still keep your sealed products. Don't try to offload it right off the bat because of this little news here, as well as the dip that we noted, because I don't think this is going to really affect the price of the booster box that much. Yeah, you'll see minor dips here and there that will last a little bit, but in reality, this should continue to go up in price. And as the booster box again becomes no longer available, we will see this go back up and increase further. So it's really an opportunity for you folks to pick up some more booster boxes at a relatively decent price. Some of you may not call it a decent price, of course, but 140 bucks for arguably one of the best sets from the Scarlet and Violet era so far is not too bad. So looking at the recent sales on eBay for the Paldea Evolved booster box, we're looking at around $192 across the board here. We've got 2 listings here that sold for $192. We've got a third one here for $192, and mind you, these are Canadian prices, so $140 US is the equivalent of about 190 CAD. So it looks like it's going for whatever the market price is currently, and it's holding steadily at $192. We've just seen 3 sales here of $192 for this booster box. So it looks like the Paldea Evolved booster box is going for around that $140 mark, and in my opinion, I think it will continue to climb and climb even further once the reprints are no longer available to buy, of course. So now we're gonna have a quick look at the top 5 cards from Paldea Evolved and how they're doing and how the reprint has affected them. Of course, the cards tend to usually go the opposite way a little bit. As reprints happen, there's going to be more availability of the single cards, which is going to flood the market, which tends to bring the price down a little bit. But looking at it from a future perspective, these cards should go back up as the sealed product is no longer available, that is. So looking at the first one here, Chinpao EX, this is a actually stunner card. I really like it over here. So it's got in the Arctic, looks like there's a blizzard going on or whatnot. It's a beautiful card. And this one over here in the last 3 months is down about 20%, 19.94, but 20%. So it was around that $26, $27 mark earlier in the summer in July, and now is down to about $20. So this may be an opportunity for you folks who are trying to master your set, or again, if you're investing in it, to pick it up, as it is relatively a cheap price, $20.60 for the number 5 card of Paldea Evolved, which is Chinpao EX, and I think this is a really nice card. The next one we're going to be looking at here is Raichu from Paldea Evolved, and this is honestly a really great card. I actually haven't been able to pull this one yet myself, but it's this beautiful card here. He's just taking a nap with all his snacks and whatnot going on here. It's a great card. And this one over here is actually also on a decline, and it's down about 17.5%, so very similar to the previous card here. We're around 20%, so we're looking around the same margins here for most of these cards, and so far that is. And we're at $48.82 in August, and we're down to $33.97, so down 17% here. And again, as I said, this is a great opportunity for you folks that are looking to master your set, or you're missing cards from your set, to pick these cards up for relatively affordable prices, if you can of course find them for these prices, that is. So Raichu is also a really good card here, going for $33 and 17% down so far in the last 3 months. But just to look at how it's done in the last 6 months, because this one is one of my favorite cards from this set, we're actually up still 41% for the year. So it's still relatively doing well in the last 6 months. With that being said, there's an opportunity here for you to pick this one up for a little bit cheaper, that is. Next up is Tyranitar, and this is a beauty card. I actually really like this card. It's not my favorite card from the set, but I would say it's in my top 3. and I actually pulled this one in a one-pack magic that I bought from Walmart, and I was really excited when I got this one. And looking at how this one is doing here, this one is actually doing relatively well in comparison to the other cards here. So late August, we were up around $32.44. Then we noticed that it went down to the 25-ish marks, all the way down to $26, let's call it that. And then after that, we noted a spike here. So we went all the way up to $42, putting it up for 25% so far for the year, which is fantastic. So Tyranitar is actually doing pretty well in comparison to the first two cards that we looked at, which were on about a 20% downward turn, but this one is up 25%. And let's look at the 6 month here, also up 116% for the 6 months. That is insane. So started off around that $19 mark, and now we're up to $42. A beautiful card making its way up there. It is now the third most expensive card in Paldea Evolved, and honestly, it deserves to be there. Next up is Iono, which used to be the #1 card, and it got, of course, taken over by the Magikarp, and is currently not doing too well. So if we look at the last 3 months here, it was at around $72.49, and we are down to $56, putting it down to around that 16.5%. So again, all of these cards, with the exception of the Tyranitar, are down between 15 to 20% in the last 3 months. And Iono is also a part of that crew. It is actually a really decent card. I'm not too into chasing the waifu cards, but for those of you who are, and for those of you who are trying to master your set, again, another opportunity here to pick up this beautiful card for a relatively decent price. Let's look at the last 6 months here as well. Also on a downward spiral, $77 down to, of course, that $56 mark, 27% down for the year. It is pretty bad, if you ask me. But of course, it looks like the Pokemon are starting to take over those top spots. I wouldn't be surprised if Tyranitar actually surpasses the Iono at one point as well. So Iono is still the #2 card in Paldea Evolved, and it's a good opportunity for you to capture this card as well right now. And last but not least is Magikarp, everyone's favorite chase card from Paldea Evolved. I'm just saying that, but for most of us here. And it is still holding the #1 spot, currently going for $116. It is actually down about 10% for the last 3 months, that is. So we're at $128 in mid-July, and now we are down to $116. And we did see a further decline here. It was around $105 when that reprint was going on. So $105, and now we're back up to $116. So Magikarp is climbing its way back, as well as we can see here as he's climbing up the river here, or the falls, that is. So Magikarp taking the #1 spot as usual, and it's sitting at $116. Still an opportunity for you folks to pick this card up if you can get it for that price. That is Shinji Kanda, of course, the same individual who made the Giratina V from Lost Origin, the same individual who's making the Magneton promo card for Surging Sparks. So that's another card to look out for, a discussion for another day, that is. But Magikarp holding strong, #1 spot, probably will continue to be the #1 card for Paldea Evolved, as it is a great card, and it is a Gen 1 Pokemon, and it is the chase of Paldea Evolved. So that is a quick look at Paldea Evolved and the reprints here. It looks like the booster box had a bit of a dip and has already regained whatever its loss was. The singles, which are the top 5 that we looked at today, for the most part are actually down, with the exception of Tyranitar, down between 10 to 20% over the last 3 months. But the Tyranitar is actually doing really well, up about 40% so far in the last 3 months. For me, this is a good opportunity for you guys to be buying the single cards. I don't think the booster box is going to go down in price. If you're willing to pay the $140 mark, which is still a decent price for arguably, as I mentioned, the best set of Scarlet and Violet era, this is a good opportunity for you to load up on these, as we don't see the price going further down at the moment with Paldea Evolved. In fact, we should probably see it continue to go up in the near future. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on what your thoughts are on this reprint, and if there are other cards that are part of Paldea Evolved that we didn't touch on today, which are also having a bit of a decline and are a good opportunity for you folks to buy. It would be great for you all to share it. Anyways, as always, you guys are the greatest. Thanks for watching. My name's TRV, and we'll see you next time.